What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Pulse and the host of HBCU Pulse Radio, in the building for another special edition of the show on today. Well, listen, it's football season officially, week 1. We got some coaching debuts. We have some winning that we've done in our predictions. Listen, I'm super excited. Got Arielle Kilgore in the building. Arielle, how you doing today?
It just feels good to be 1-0. Feels good to have a nice week and not be wrong. No upsets. A really great game, but just real chill. This was probably one of the best football weekends ever. Back into college football. I've been ecstatic. I don't even have the words for it.
Yeah, it's been different. Like, just it does feel different this year. It's something in the atmosphere. Like, even during the MEAC SWAC challenge, I'm like, this doesn't feel like last year. Even the game, especially in the first half, felt just so much more important. And then, of course, if you can't, see me listening on podcasts, I'm wearing my Norfolk State jersey. We go repping Michael Vick out here. And listen, true story, Arielle, back in like 2022, before Jackson State made the Celebration Bowl and DeSean left Jackson State, they had the Shedeur Sanders jersey. And I was going to get it. And then when I was going to go get it, it was sold out. So I was like, with this Michael Vick jersey, I'm not playing around. It's a lot going on. And it was a lot going on in that MEAC SWAC challenge. North Carolina Central, we knew it wasn't a doubt. We talked about it last week. We knew it wasn't a doubt. They won 31-14. It was a very compelling game at first. I was sort of shocked. It wasn't compelling from a technical football sense, but as far as like the game flow, to me, Arielle, and what I said last year about how I just felt like, the season was boring, and I was just honest about it. But it felt like the Celebration Bowl, like not necessarily that Southern or even North Carolina Central will make it this year, but it was just an air of importance. I don't know if it was ABC. I don't know if it was me missing college football, but it felt great, especially those first 2 quarters. So Arielle, like, what were your thoughts on the game?
Man, when I tell you, I've seen so much improvement on both sides, but just being the MEAC person, of course, we're going to start with the MEAC. And I just have to say, Central's Walker Harris, I think we finally might have the evolved quarterback that we have been waiting for in this man. I know it's taken us a little bit, but he has grown so much over the summer. And last year, we really talked about how he was just a pocket passer. He really wasn't able to take those runs. He didn't want to take any chances. Now we see that this man has really fast hands, and Walker Harris is not afraid to break holes in the pocket. We got to show some highlights. That 2nd and 6 in the first quarter where he throws to Mackay on Southern. Man, when I tell you, that play looked a little iffy with him not being down and kind of fumbling the ball. I was just like, all right, there were a lot of plays that I saw where I'm just like, maybe these should be turned over, and some of them were with the touchback that Southern had in the end zone era. But then we have a couple of balls coming back. I would say Southern had a great first drive, talking about Cameron McCoy taking out that 69-yard touchdown. Oh, my gosh. And I'm so glad that they chose him for their quarterback. And then we had the hurdle by Chance. I said they're just getting up. They're trying to perform all these moves out here. But let's talk about the multiple weapons that Central had. Central targeted 6 to 7 people, 5 of those targets actually being touchdowns, including Walker Harris himself. So the game just being what it was in the first half really, really, really made me excited to see that Central is starting to come up in their game, that they're really prepared and sent a message to Chettis Berry and the South Carolina State Bulldogs that, hey, we're still going to be on top of the MEAC. We're still going to do everything that we're supposed to do. Now, the one thing that really, really bothered me, and we've seen it during the first half and a little bit during the second half, is ball control for Central. Too many drop balls, too many fumbles, a little bit of the sloppy plays. And I understand this is the first game back in the season. We're really excited. We're trying to show that we are still on top of the MEAC. We're trying to show that we're a dominant football team, despite what everybody must have said back then. But you have to learn how to control the ball, because besides that touchback with Walker Harris and beside those downs with Chance, those could have been just game winners that they could have threw this out the park. But with having those things, I think this is why the game wasn't, we're not seeing 40 40 plus points how we had with Davius Richards. We're not going to see that if you can't have any ball control. But of course, Chris Mosley, being one of the most special things, they finally named their running back. They finally have a ground game that actually works, and they actually have two people back there too. And then on Southern side, listen, Mike Jones, big man out there. Every time I hear him, I want to be like, Mike Jones? Who Mike Jones? When I tell you who that man is, that is a big man. And I think Central will be A-okay with having a really good defense because they held Central for a very long time and had a lot of breakout runs. So I'm not mad that they lost. I think it was a game well performed. And I think Campbell getting to Harris, having those big men on that defense, I think what we're seeing is a very dominant team out of Southern. They were just outplayed. They didn't have as much time on the field. And plus those forced 2 fumbles also on Southern side, you would just have to think that maybe they were just outplayed by Central. And honestly, that is okay. To be honest, I think they look great. I think there's not much that they could have done. I think the defense for the Eagles is going to be really, really well when they finally play Berry. But overall, I had a great time. The only con I would say, of course, when we got to the second quarter, everything stalled. We had no points scored in the fourth quarter, which is fine. But I think the game could have progressed. I think everybody was tired. Trey Oliver wanting to end it. Let's just get this over with. And then that last fumble that turned it over. I think it was the end of the game. But I wasn't disappointed, Randall. And in the technicality of the football aspect, I think we had a really, really great game. Wasn't much of a blowout. The broadcast was great as well, but this was a game that I thoroughly enjoyed and hope that both of these teams go home, especially with Central with their head held high. But with Southern seeing that they have a really, really great running back, they're going to be fine with their QB, Cameron McCoy. They got a really nice big defensive line, and it's something that they can improve on and possibly go into the season feeling really great. And they play Mississippi Valley State next. Not saying this should be an easy win, but it would be much of a confidence booster just to go in and now you're 1-1. They'll be okay.
So I agree with you totally on North Carolina Central's part. I think Walker Harris was great. He scared me a bit. And I tweeted about this in the second quarter. He was scrambling a lot. Like, he was running a lot. Like, he was Davius Richard. And I was like, I don't know if I want Walker Harris doing that. Like, I know you have to be mobile as a quarterback in this era, but you don't have to be Davius Richard or Lamar Jackson. Like, I understand, like, if you see the lane, you see they're in man, take off. But he was taking some hits. He wasn't even sliding, especially that first quarter. He was taking some hits. I'm like, I don't like that. Like, I want you to make sure that you're healthy. And honestly, I'll be completely honest, like, no joke. I thought about Andrew Body because Andrew Body, we know he's a dual threat guy. Like, he can run, he can pass. And I thought about what happened against North Carolina Central, ironically enough, in the Orange Blossom Classic last year. And I'm like, I don't want that to happen to Walker. So, maybe I'm like, I really, I don't want anybody to get hurt, but he did really good. I was, very happy for him. Like, I think that North Carolina Central, they're going to be dominant. I think that it's going to be them in South Carolina State, unless one of DeSean Jackson or Michael Vick comes in and takes it over. But it's going to clearly be North Carolina Central at the top once again, per usual. Here's the thing on Southern. Well, before I get to Southern, I'll say this. Before I get to Southern, I'll say this. I agree with you 100% about the broadcast. My God. Listen, you know how I feel about broadcasting. Sometimes I can't even watch a football game if it's not good. I will turn that thing off, and like my safe place is like scripted TV now. Like, I will turn on like a scripted TV show. I'll be like, listen, I'll check out the highlights. I might rewatch it on Sunday. Because honestly, if it's not, that's what happens this year. I will turn on The Wire. Okay, don't play with me when it comes to some of these broadcasts. Okay, I'm talking about Flow Sports. Okay, but see, I loved how important the game felt, and you could tell that this was premium quality ESPN. Because here's the thing, and I'll say this before I get to Southern, is that when you look at the camera work and the packages and everything for the MEAC SWAC Challenge, I understand that when it comes to sports, especially football, that nighttime feel is really nice. When it's bright outside and stuff, but that nighttime feel, especially in football, is really dope. But look at that Mercer UC Davis game and look at this MEAC SWAC Challenge. It was totally different, especially from the FCS kickoff earlier in the day where Nichols won an upset. It looked totally different, and that matters when it comes to the game, when it comes to presentation. I think Jay Walker, Tiffany Green did an amazing job. I think the camera work was immaculate. We just want that for all the ESPN games, but watch them not do it because most of the key games are going to be on ESPNU. So whatever. Anyway, Southern, I looked at Southern a little bit differently. I was not impressed by them in a lot of different ways. I thought Trey Holly was amazing. Trey Holly, as advertised, he had that huge run. They're on the 20-yard line, on their own 20-yard line. He has that huge 80-yard run. Cameron McCoy with that crazy run in the first half. But they finished the game with 89 yards passing overall for the game. North Carolina Central dominated the time of possession by 9 minutes, 33-40. You saw a difference between North Carolina Central and Southern in how their offensive attack flowed. You saw a multi-tiered approach when you see North Carolina Central and Walker Harris in that running back unit with North Carolina Central. You saw a good rushing attack when it came to Southern, and I think they could have deployed Trey Holly a little bit more. I would like to have seen that, but the offense was anemic. Like, they were playing pre-1906 football. They honestly were. Like, they were playing pre-Divine Nine football out there. Like, they were playing as if the forward pass was not invented. I had to look it up. I was like, when was the forward pass illegal? Like, when was it legalized in football? And it was pre-1906. Like, that's how they were playing. Like, they were playing like, I can't throw the ball down the field. And I think that's an indictment on the coaching staff. I think that's an indictment on the game plan that they deployed. Because I understand North Carolina Central is North Carolina Central, but could you try to beat them? Because it seemed like at a point where they're like, man, these guys are just too good. We're just going to just let Trey Holly do what he does. Because you take away those two big runs, and this whole entire game looks different. Like, this becomes a total blowout if you take out those two big plays. And I think that often it comes down to this when it comes to Southern. They get guys. They get talented players. They just don't know how to use them. And this year, they're going to have one guy for sure that is a playmaker in Trey Holly that we saw was a playmaker at LSU and has set records in the state of Louisiana. He's the leading rusher in Louisiana sports, right? So when it comes to that, he's going to be a playmaker, but the rest of the offense, I was not impressed. They had no diversity on that offense. They deployed the run way too much. They were 2 of 10 on third downs. To me, the narrative of the game to me is that shows me that you had no passing game. Because when you get to a third down and you can't advance it forward and you can't continue that drive and increase the time of possession to give you a chance to even stay in the game, I can't do anything with it. So a lot of people were like, listen, don't no, this is one game. Like, don't overreact about Southern. Because I was about to come in here and say Southern is doomed. Okay, I was about to come on here and just say, listen, the sky is falling, no Chicken Little. I'm telling you, I was like, just get make sure the children and the wives are safe, okay? Because the sky is falling. But I'm not gonna say that, okay? I'm not gonna say that. They'll fix it up. But it makes me wonder a little bit, Arielle, about that Mississippi Valley State game. Now I ain't gonna lie to you. We'll talk about it. But it makes me wonder.
I'm with the people. I think you're a little harsh. Just a little harsh. And I'm not saying that you didn't have great points. And some of these things that you're saying are facts. We didn't see any passing game. We didn't see anything else besides Trey Harley and Cameron McCoy. Like, we're not going to see those big dominating factors like how we named, like how there's 6-7 different receivers, including a tight end that Central finally decided to have and actually use. But if you think about it, this is Central a year ago. Walker Harris not knowing how to move in the pocket, having a whole new offensive line, some 3 to 4 returning defensive players. They were doing the same thing that Central did in this MEAC SWAC challenge. We're going to stick to the run game. We're going to stick to what we know. We're going to develop Chris Mosley and whatever other weapons that we can get. They didn't have the wide receivers that they had in this game. They didn't have the tight end that they had in this game. They didn't have the 2 other backup running backs that were making 20-plus yard runs on this game. They didn't have that. And if we think about this last year, Central was in the same position with third and fourth down conversions. They were almost last year in that. They were third. If you want to compare them to Morgan State and Norfolk State, Chennis Berry and South Carolina State outdid them in that. So now we're looking at a team that is kind of starting like Central. Southern is a little bit new, and finally having Cameron McCoy, finally having Trey Holly, which I'm looking at him. That is a big dude, and the power that he has, the speed. I want to see that man go far. If I don't see this man's name called in the draft next year, I don't know what to tell you, because this man is special, and it's something that I will say in recruiting, Southern has done an amazing job at finding the weapons that will carry them this year. But just to be on the softer side, we're looking at a Central last year. Southern literally was doing what Central was doing last year. Was it a great game? No. Did they give up during the second half? I believe absolutely. But I don't think they're completely lost. I think we saw, like I said, their defense shined during that whole quarter, holding Central until they ran away with a 24-14, almost going into the second half. But I don't think that's bad. I think you find the things that you're really, really good at. And to me, I'd rather know that I have a great defense early, I have a set running back, and I have a quarterback. Offensive weapons I can work on later. And for me being the offensive person that I am, that's kind of rough for me to say that. But I think that's something that they could work on during the season. Not saying that everything that we saw was absolutely great, but I don't think they don't have a foundation to work off of. What I've liked to see in the passing game more, of course. Would I like to see Cameron McCoy not taking the whole game into his hands if he had to? Sure, because they still had 2 forced fumbles against Central. They still had a touchback against Central. They still had a lot of things that forced Walker Harris to get out the pocket and do what he did. And I'm kind of liking that he's becoming a little bit of a more mobile quarterback. But there are a lot of great things that Southern did right. But there are still some things that Southern did wrong. But I'm not necessarily think they're a lost cause, nor is the sky falling. You feel me?
What I will say is that, and I'm surprised I didn't see this a lot from the conversation around the game. And hopefully I'm not wrong when I say this, because this is just what I observed.
Okay.
But Southern held up well in the red zone. Like, yeah. Maybe I'm crazy, because I heard nobody say it.
Yeah.
Because like it was moments in time where, like, because Central was getting to the red zone, but like when they were trying to run, and I put it in my article on Clutch Points, like North Carolina Central ran into a brick wall, and they honestly were not like really successful in the red zone when they were making it there, right? And you had that moment where it was really weird. I think this was maybe in the first quarter, where I think it was third down, and I think Walker tried to take it into the end zone. He tried to run, and then they tackled him, and it was a fumble, and it was a touchback. And then the game stopped. They were trying to figure out what happened, and I'm like, it was a fumble and a touchback. Like what is going on? Do I have to be a referee too? Do I have to take this Norfolk jersey off and get a referee jersey? Can we get this ball rolling? Because I was getting tired too. I was like, I've been working all day. I'm like, can we go get a game going on?
And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of questionable plays, even going into the second quarter, where Makai finally had the ball and he's running. And at first, it looks like that his knee wasn't down. And when the ball came out, Southern had to throw that challenge. Before we move on into this touchdown play, you guys have to run it back. So there are a lot of technicalities that they showed in Central that was like, okay, like we said, ball control really needs to be handled. We can't have all these fumbles. We can't have all these lost balls, these drop passes. But on the other end, yes, to your point, we need to develop a scoring offense, because we can't come against teams like Central and only think that we're going to block them in the red zone, only think that we're going to have all these touchbacks, or we're going to force fumbles out of their hands. It's not likely. And since Central saw that, they're definitely going to clean that up before they get to the end of the season. But I think if we look at Southern, I would say 45% of a lot of things was done right. If we really want to take it to accountability that them not having a passing offense is a really major thing, then yes, we can't give them over 50% of doing exactly what they need to do. But that defense was incredible, amazing. And Falcons, if you're watching, that's how you stop your opponents from scoring in the red zone. I don't want all these 15-yard penalties. I don't want these. We're on the half yard. Southern needs to talk to coach Raheem Morris, this is how you build a wall. This is how you block. This is how you force a field, because they was forced into a field goal. Another score for Central, which was crazy to me. But Southern is not great, but they don't have a lot to worry about.
Okay, listen, Ari, I believe in you. Okay, if you say there's nothing to worry about, ain't nothing to worry about. But if Mississippi Valley, if they start to have some success, and shout out to Terrell Buckley, but if they start to have some success, I'm gonna start worrying. Okay, I'm gonna start worrying. Okay, because listen.
Keep your worry, keep your analysis. Like, I mean, you're not completely wrong. Like, yes, Southern needs a passing offense, but if Mississippi Valley State is the beginning of my downfall this year, I'm quitting. I'm quitting. If they win that game, I'm quitting. I don't want to keep scoring anymore, because what in the world are you doing losing to Mississippi Valley State in week 2?
That's a good point. I'll say that's a good point, but I think we'll see, because I'm a little bit nervous that they got to regain the trust that I'm starting to build in them, because I think that they shouldn't have been as successful as they were last year. But we'll see what happens with that. But let's get to our games of the week. I am excited, and I'm especially excited for you because you have an amazing first game, and I'm excited to hear what your thoughts on them are. And I'm especially excited to hear your pick.
The reason why we're giggling, guys, because first of all, this is the first pick I think that we had in the 3 years that we've been doing this, that it hasn't been Central, nor has it been South Carolina State, which is actually hilarious. My game of the week, because their games are like this year. There's no games that I would want to cover. And so excitingly, which is so awkward for me, and I pray I can catch this game, my game of the week is Norfolk State versus Townsend. And just like your analysis, we're having instead of your homecoming analysis, I'm having a rematch analysis. This is a rematch for the end of the game last year when Townsend won over Norfolk State in a very close last-minute scoring game, which I'm excited to see if, Michael Vick, beloved Atlantean, beloved Falcon, we miss him so much. I hope he's having a great time. I hope this season goes off well. Can do this. Last year, Townsend beat them in a last minute 2 touchdowns coming out of the 3 minutes going into that fourth quarter. That's how they topped it. And Townsend's not being a bad team. Sean Brown, an amazing quarterback, having a little bit of magic back then, going 7-5 last year with Townsend. Not too bad, but there was too many close calls and a little bit too many technicalities that kept him out of having that top spot. But Norfolk is just right now a complete blank slate. We're erasing what happened last year. We're erasing that record. We're erasing a lot of things. The only good thing that has actually come out of this is that Michael Vick has finally named his quarterback. We will be seeing Israel Carter start, which I'm actually very excited seeing him in his spring game, seeing how they talk about him, looking at practices, not physically being there, but what they decide to release. I think that he is going to be the model quarterback that commands this offense and at least gets the ball rolling. Some of the things that they did have trouble, since we're basing this on a complete new season, some of the things that they did have trouble with while facing Townsend was ball control. There was a lot of times where they had a lot of 3- and 4th down conversions that they weren't able to convert. And I think those are some of the things that Michael Vick knows. Those are the things that win games and lose games, because he was that converter for the Atlanta Falcons. And he was a converter for a lot of those teams. So he's going to be looking for Israel Carter, that if he cannot do it on the ground, because like I said, this team is a little shaded. There's a lot of secret surprises that we're going to find out tomorrow on Thursday when they play against Townsend, what that backfield is looking like, who their tight is going to be, what wide receivers we're going to have, what their defense actually looks like, because they held up against Townsend very, very well. They were up by 2 points before Sean Brown scored those last 2 touchdowns. So this game is going to be really close. This is going to be a rematch game. I think this is one of the better opponents that they could play in the season that will really show the coaching and what Michael Vick's team is going to look like. I'm very excited on what he's going to do, and for his team to stop being a mystery to me, for them to finally see what's going to happen. I'm ready to see some green and gold really finally win. So I'm picking them. He's the only He's going to be the only team that I am risking my record for this early. I'm picking them to win and maybe actually have the same score as the outcome.
I was ready for you not to pick them. I was gonna be like, I'm gonna pick Michael Vick. I thought you were gonna be like, what? So yeah, we're in agreement. Like, I think that between Michael Vick and DeSean Jackson, because I was willing to risk my picks too, because I was like, do I think DeSean Jackson is gonna beat Delaware? Do I think Michael Vick is gonna beat Towson as far as him coaching? And I was like, I see it more for Michael Vick, and I'll get to the Delaware side of it later on. But I really think that, like I said last week, there's a foundation that Dawson Odom's left at Norfolk, and those guys didn't jump ship. And why would they? It's Michael Vick. You know what I mean? Why would they jump ship? Like, just, I don't like this coach, I'm gonna leave. Like, no, man, come on. This is HBCU. Like, come on, you gonna stay for Michael Vick. Like, and then you saw the Deion Sanders experience went. Like, come on, you gonna stay for Michael Vick. So Kavon King, Otto Coons, although he is the backup quarterback, he's still there. Like, you have a couple other guys that are still there. Then I think that Michael Vick, he didn't, really wow me when it came to recruiting in like this big, huge way, like maybe Deion did in his, first year, although we know COVID sort of exacerbated things. They didn't play in that fall of 2020. But, I like his recruiting class. I like the transfers he brought in. I like the high school guys he brought in. And I like the approach that they're deploying of really tapping into that Virginia, that Newport News, Norfolk area, because they have a lot of great high school ball there. So I like that he saturated a lot of that 2025 class with a lot of those high school guys. And then the transfers sort of to plug and play to make sure you can try to be competitive going to the first season. So I think that this is a roster that can win. Like, I don't think they're going to lose every game. Like, I think that they'll be competitive, of course, in conference, but I think that this is a slate of games out of conference that I definitely think that Norfolk State can win. Then they're starting at home. So I think that it's going to be a lot of momentum. The stadium for Norfolk State is going to be filled to capacity. I honestly believe that. A lot of media. My dog Allen Iverson is going to be there. That's my favorite NBA player ever, by the way. Not LeBron. Like, LeBron is probably number 2, but Allen Iverson is my favorite player. So I want to let you know that. I don't know if we ever had that conversation. That is my guy. Okay, so like, he's been supporting Michael Vick like crazy. So I know Allen Iverson is going to be there. Probably some other Virginia folks going to be there. It's going to be jumping. So I think Norfolk State is going to win. But I got to say this. I hate this on ESPNU. Why couldn't you put it on ESPN? Like, what? I got to check the schedule. Like, why is this on ESPNU? And here's how they're going to spin it. They're going to be like, well, we got a new ESPN app. And it's like, you're right. That's very true. But I'm not paying $30 for it. And it's not included in my YouTube TV bundle. And then we're recording this on Wednesday by 5 p.m. I might not have Fox either. So all I'm gonna have is ESPN, I guess. So I mean, I'm gonna have to get Fox One at this point. So I mean, it could have been on maybe ESPN 2. I don't know, but yeah.
And that's why I prefaced this. Even if I get to watch the game, I was just like, yo, ESPNU? Like, now I gotta go through hoops, back channels, all this just to watch my man finally win his first game. Maybe, hopefully. I need him to start us off right. Michael Vick, please. But I'm excited. Out of them two, out of DeSean Jackson and Michael Vick, I think this is a more winnable game than what he has to go against. He may surprise us, and I would love to hear your analysis next. But I think Norfolk State may have this, and if not, like how his recruiting class is fresh. He's not starting from the ground up, but it's a lot of inexperienced players that did come to play for one of the greatest quarterbacks that we have ever seen. Specifically, one of the greatest Black quarterbacks that we have ever seen. So everybody's game is based off of Michael Vick. So if he's as inspiring and as convincing and as idolized as he is, I think these men are going to go out, put on a great game, put in a great season for him, because he's not going anywhere without a fight. No pun intended. But like, we're going to see some really, please, oh my gosh, we're going to see a really great game. Hopefully we get to see a really great game.
You said something I probably would have said, and I'm like, I I don't want to say that. And this is making the show, by the way. Oh, this is totally making the show. Like, I'm just saying.
When I thought, like, it just wrote off when I thought about it. I was just like, yeah, he's not. I was like, But, you know, with me, they're going to allow it. They're going to let it
They going to allow the fight. Michael Vick is ready for the fight. Okay? No more context is needed. Just know that.
Bro, roll off me. Roll off me. What is your game of the week? Please, roll. Stay here.
Oh my gosh. So Arielle, this actually was really tough for me because initially, I don't know if you saw the outline before, but I had Hampton versus Jackson State. I thought that was really, it was really easy, but I decided to go with Prairie View A&M versus Texas Southern in the Labor Day Classic. And I'm going to try to explain to you and myself why I chose this game. Okay. Let's get it. Okay. So first and foremost, this is a homecoming for Tremaine Jackson. So Tremaine Jackson played for Texas Southern in the 2002 and 2003 seasons before he transferred to the University of Louisiana Monroe. So that's the first thing I think that's very key. You have a Tremaine Jackson that started his college football career with this team. We see what he's done as a coach. And then he came back in his coaching career. He served as a Texas Southern coach on the coaching staff from 2008 to 2011. He served in various capacities as a tight end coach, defensive line coach, and then eventually the defensive coordinator before departing the program in 2011. And we know he brings a great track record at Prairie View A&M, 40-12 overall coaching record, 30-9 at Valdosta State. That first season at Valdosta in 2022, after they came off of the championship, they went 5-6. Of course, we talked about it at that time because we know that Jada Byers and Virginia Union, they went in and they won that crazy high-scoring game. And that was Tremaine Jackson's team. We were like, man, Valdosta going to get Tremaine Jackson out of here because Valdosta don't lose to HBCUs. At that point, they had only, it says starting their program in 1980, they had only lost to, and this is true, Fort Valley and Albany State. And here's the thing with Albany State. Albany State beat them with Gabe Gardenia in their first year. When Gabe Gardenia got there in 2017, they only had lost to 2 HBCUs. So now then you add Virginia Union and Jada Byers, who's a dynamic player that'll go down probably as an HBCU legend for all that he did. So, you know, you chalk that up that first season. We're going to see what the second season is. They're top of the conference in the Gulf South Conference. And then from there, they make it to the playoffs. They lose in the quarterfinals. Cool. But listen, we got faith in you. We go see what you're doing. The third season after the losing season in 2022, in 2024, they're number one in the Gulf South again. And they make it all the way to the Division II National Championship, lose to Ferris State. Tremaine Jackson said, peace out. I'm going to Prairie View, which was very much a change of scenery because normally people will say, peace out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to leave this HBCU and go to this this FBS school, this non-HBCU, if you will. Like, and then they'll make up, like Deion Sanders, an analogy that don't make sense. Like what Deion said. Deion said that you're either promoted or you're fired. No, that's not only options, Deion. That's not the only options that are deployed. We talked about that back then. But it was a change of scenery because you go from Valdosta State, which is this power in Division II, and then you go up to Prairie View and say, hey, this is my North Star. This is my next step. And I thought that was amazing. So he goes to Prairie View, and he brings in the top recruiting class in the SWAC per 247 Sports. And he retained some key pieces on that offense, especially because he got some defensive guys as well. But you keep your quarterback in Cam Peters. You keep your running back in Laminga McDowell. You know, and then you have Jamal Marshall and James Cate and Cam Ammo on that defense, right? So I think that he has a mixture of his own guys. You bring in 70 new guys, then you retain 33 of them. You don't have to wait to say, hey, these are Bubba McDowell's guys. That's why we went 5-6. That's why we didn't do well. We went 4-7. No, these are your guys. You got some of the guys that stayed, but these are largely your guys. So you get a chance to make your impact immediately. So the thing that really has me wanting to watch this game, of course, I'm a fan of Tremaine Jackson. I don't know if he'll do what Kenneth Berry did because the SWAC is compromised differently. But at the same time, I think he'll be successful immediately. I think Sam Shade will be too. But I think between the Sam Shade and Tremaine Jackson, both being former Division II coaches, I think that Tremaine Jackson is probably going to be successful quicker than Sam Shade is. But the reason why I chose this game is because of the disrespect that occurred in the Labor Day Classic press conference. Because, I like a story. I'm a writer. I love a story. And I love coaches that give me something to write. Because before week 1, they ain't nothing really to write. Like, help me get these numbers. Like, help me do my job. Like I don't want to work too hard, y'all. Thank you, Tremaine Jackson and Chris Dishman, because Chris Dishman was low-key talking crazy in that Labor Day Classic press conference. And if y'all want to see it, it's on YouTube. Chris Dishman's first dig, it was aimed at Coach Jackson. He sang a little song that was on the video talking about Atlanta's on his mind, like almost like Georgia's on his mind, right? So he's saying, hey, Atlanta's on my mind. I want to make it to the Celebration Bowl, which is very admirable. I don't think that's necessarily just disrespectful to say that you want your team to make the Celebration Bowl. And immediately, DeSean Jackson said something similar. No one said nothing to him. But this is what Chris Dishman said. He said, first and foremost, I'd like to thank Tremaine for his wonderful song he gave us. I wonder if he can sing that song after. I think it was something Atlanta or something he was singing one day in Houston this weekend. Oh, yeah, you was horrible. I think you'll be able to keep your day job and coach and not sing. That's what Chris Dishman said. And Tremaine Jackson, he didn't like, folks are fake laugh. You be at work. Oh, that's so funny. He sat there stoic. He like, man, whatever. So then he said some more stuff. He said a lot more stuff too, but I'm gonna end this part here. Chris Dishman said, it's going to be a very exciting game. And there's a formula I go by. Win third down, win the red zone, less penalties than your opponent, and you should win the game. Our 11 is better than their 11. It's not about Tremaine and I. It's about our 11. Our 11 is better, and we should win this game. Now, you also said something about calling your players dogs and, like our players are upstanding Christian men or what have you. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Anyway, that was because that got real crazy. That got really crazy. So Tremaine Jackson responded. So he talked to a reporter. He responded. He said, there's a different level of focus. He said a lot of things. I want to clip this part out. There's a different level of focus with us right now. But we've been like that since January the 7th. We don't allow people to toy with our kids, our program. This ain't your uncle's Prairie View A&M football team. This is us. This is a new field around here. We don't take shots of disrespect kindly. And then he gave a little allegory because the reporter was like, well, I mean, is it just in good fun? Like y'all just, trash talking just to get folks to watch the game. Tremaine Jackson says, man, I went to Oak Forest Elementary, class of 94. I didn't go to recess. I don't play. We don't play. That's not us. That's not what we go about it. So I don't know what that is. I just know how we do things. So shout out to Miss Rector, my 5th grade teacher, for not making me go to recess because I didn't play no games. Now, real quick, we don't got the time to go deeper into this and investigate this, but we got to talk to his teachers and maybe his parents because why do you go to recess? That's interesting. Like, were you in trouble, Coach Jackson?
He ain't play no games. He ain't had time to be out there with the kids running around. He had a plan. He had a vision.
But what is he saying about us that went?
He had a vision before everybody had an opinion. Shout out my man Jalen Hurts. But listen, his mind is on winning this game. And I hope I don't know what it is with coaches and thinking that disrespectful comments or taking jabs at the other team is going to hype you up more or hype them up more to beat you. Why can't we just have a clean game? You saw how that turned out with what was it, Alabama A&M?
Alabama A&M and Deion with the scooter. Yeah, and Jackson State beat them 61-15. And then they left the pink scooter on the sideline for Connor Maynard. Yeah.
And then you saw Southern with these Chucky dolls. Y'all need to stop playing with these teams. Stop playing with these teams that have a better line than y'all. Y'all don't want to get blown out like
That's true. But it's like that quote just was funny, and we don't have the time to explain. I know you probably have a lot of questions, but I was a really good student in my K through 12 career. But I got suspended once, and it was at recess. Yes,
Ooh.
it was at. I'll tell the story really quickly. So basically, we were playing basketball, of course, and it was a boy that I was playing, and I'm boxing out trying to get a rebound, and I guess I pushed him. He gets on the floor, he's crying. I'm like, what are you crying over? And I'm trying to play the game. I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going on. So I'm trying to play defense, trying to get the ball. So he says, Randall, push me down. So they brought me up to that office, and they were like, Randall, because my mom came up there, she got off work. She said, we're gonna have to suspend you run for a day. And my mom said, because I think the statute of limitations is up, by the way, on this, what I'm about to say. So my mom said, listen, we're trying to get Randall to a good college. So could you not put the suspension on his record? And you had a good, black woman principal, Dr. Flag. We're going to implicate her, Dr. Flag. And she said, you're not going to put it on your record. So fast forward a few years later, I'm in 11th grade. I'm working in the office. So we have access to disciplinary records. So I'm just curious. I'm like, you know what? What's on my disciplinary record? It should be clean. I look on there. It says February the 8th, 2008, Randall pushed down. I was like, it was the only thing that was on here.
Why? First of all, but did I really push him, or could he not take the charge?
I did. You should have been there. You should have been there. You could have helped me. I didn't really push him. Because he just. I promise, I'm not a malicious person. So I'm not just be like, oh, boom. No, I'm not Draymond Green. I'm not just going to just get out the way. Boom. No, that's not me. It was really weird. It was on my record. But guess what? I got into school I went to get you. I got into Fort Valley State University. And we here right now. All right. So we made it happen, and it's on my record, and it ain't never leaving. So maybe Coach Jackson is right. Maybe we need to stop going to recess. Maybe Ms. Rector was on to something, okay? And maybe Ms. Rector is gonna be on to something on this Saturday, on this Saturday evening, when Prairie View beats Texas Southern. Texas Southern won last year, 27-9. Oh, Tremaine Jackson, he's gonna be just like Kobe. It was Kobe's birthday earlier this week. He's gonna be just like Kobe. He gonna be on Michael Jordan. He's gonna take it personal. He didn't say a word because he already knew what was gonna happen. Because Chris Dishman, you can't be talking like that with the Texas Southern team that you have. Even if you win, cool. But I just feel like you can't talk like that. And Chris Dishman been talking. You can't talk like that. TC Taylor can talk like that. And he don't, because TC Taylor, he got swag about himself. So he don't. But TC Taylor can talk like that. There's people that can talk like that. You can't talk like that, to me. And Tremaine Jackson, low key, he been making people upset. But I'll just say this last thing. I think Tremaine Jackson can too. And I think Tremaine Jackson gonna say some stuff once they boat race Texas Southern. God bless y'all. And listen, don't take your kids to recess because they'll get suspended. All right.
So your pick
is Prairie View. It's Prairie View. What's yours?
For being down with my dog, because I hate seeing people disrespected like that. I hope Prairie View monkey stops the mess out of Texas Southern. I really, really do. If I wanted to protect my pick, I would choose Texas Southern. But we're going to be allies in this fight, and I'm going to choose Prairie View. And I'm actually hoping Prairie View gets back on top. It's been a minute since I've seen any talk, any rattle about them. And I'm used, being coming from A&T, I'm used to them being a really great team, a top contender, being something scary to look at. And, they've been on the fence. They've been okay, but they haven't been like great. And I'm ready for a season where they just pop out again. I mean, they ain't never gonna, pop out of A&T, but I'm ready to see them be on top again, have that kind of dominance again, be a top 3 team, because they they've set records. They've been good. They had great coaching staffs. I just haven't seen them had a burst out season. I'm praying this is it. I'm praying that the SWAC gives me surprises this year that I've never seen. There's not much surprises that you can get out of the 6 team in the MEAC. I'm hoping that we come up. I'm hoping that we can be like a SWAC and we can have Northeast, South, and West, and we can start doing stuff like that. But you know, the SWAC gives me life because there's so many teams competing for that one spot. And then you have the MEAC and your powerhouses, and you're just like, I mean, I know what's going to happen, but I'm going to keep hope alive and just hope that, you know, maybe we might have an upset here and there. But I'm pulling for Prairie View and hoping that this goes well. Because if not, it's going to be a very interesting show next week.
That's very true. Now, I was going to say something about what you said about A&T, but I'm going to need you to go back in time and advocate for me to not get suspended. Like, if we find a time machine, I'm gonna bring you back. My mom's gonna be like, who are you?
we gotta get a DeLorean. You know, we gotta be like Back to the Future.
Yeah, because I just say this before we move on to get the game. I shouldn't have been suspended. Like that was insane, and the lying is crazy. Like, don't lie to my because you know people lie to you when they don't know the system. Oh yeah, we not gonna put it in like cap. We weren't saying cap back then, but cap, like, come on.
Anyway. Yeah, right there on my record. I remember quickly, I've never been suspended ever, but I did have silent lunch. It was this, but in my defense, I forgot her name, but she is irrelevant at this point. I had a teacher, and I didn't know, I went to the bathroom, but I didn't know that she told the class that we weren't allowed to talk. So when I came back in, and I'm looking, and I'm asking one of my friends what's going on, she was like, Ari, didn't I tell you not to talk? And I was like, no, I hadn't been here. So she gave me silent lunch. I told my dad I was out of school that whole week that she tried to give me silent lunch. Like, every time it was time to go on lunch, my dad would pick me up. I would go home, or we would get something to eat. And when we came back, lunch was over. So I never served my silent lunch. I was like, girl, we're not doing that here. Other than that, Ari was a really good kid. You feel me? I just didn't know we weren't supposed to talk. So, like, what was I supposed to do with it?
Now, see, the Arielle said she's never got suspended, but she just told an elaborate TV show-esque storyline about how she strategically evaded silent lunch and the chess moves of going to get something to eat at a restaurant. Like, you lived a life none of the rest of us lived.
I refuse to be punished for things that I didn't do. Of course, you know, serving the Lord, that doesn't matter. Look at Job. He was punished for doing nothing, just being a servant of God. But listen, you know, I would do that to my kids. My kids wasn't in the room when you told them to be quiet. They come in, they talk, you want to get silent lunch. We could fight about it. Like, I'm not finna do this. Like, come on now.
Let me ask this before I move on. Just yes or no. Do you think Jermaine Jackson had silent lunch?
Absolutely.
He had silent lunch?
Absolutely.
He didn't go to recess, but he probably go to recess because he had silent lunch.
Talking all that mess, trying to be the biggest and the baddest. You don't have to do recess, but you gotta let that energy out somewhere, and it's probably in the classroom talking too much. So he probably did have silent lunch. But that's why he's a great coach today.
Last thing. I want to, you know, did y'all have the card system when y'all pull the cards, green, yellow, red, and then blue? If it's blue, you going to jail in 5th grade. Like, you get the blue, you are a criminal. Like,
them kids don't understand that no more. Them kids don't have nap time. They don't write in cursive. They don't have card system. Our generation is doomed.
Man, I ain't had nap time since 2001. I honestly wonder if Tremaine Jackson had the card, and they had the card system in '94. That's what I want to know. Did Tremaine Jackson pull? Because there had to be there's some context. If I was there, Tremaine Jackson would have fight me. I would have been like, so Coach Jackson, hey, Coach Jackson, clutch points. So why did you not have recess? Was there a reason why?
Did he take naps too? Did he just sit up during nap time? It was just like, I'm plotting on everybody's future. All of y'all sleep right now, not thinking about the future, but I'm thinking ahead. What was this man on? What was his childhood like? There's so many questions.
Yeah, one day we'll get him because we know Michael Vick can come on this show, so maybe we'll get Tremaine Jackson.
Hey man, you know, he might hear us. He might have heard me. He might want to come clear some things. I don't know.
Oh
He
my
might.
God. Yeah, that's true.
Shoot your shot, Randall. Shoot your shot this year. Let's get some coaches on the show. Let's up it up.
We'll see.
Some sound bites or something. I don't know.
We can get sound bites easy, but they just like the interview is a lot, to say the least.
But I mean, like personal sound bites. Like, it's like, let me just talk to you. Can you send like a little analysis? You feel me? Personally to HBCU posts. Appreciate you.
That's true. Let us get these followers up a little bit on Instagram. So I'm trying. Just know, and if Clutch Points listen, I'm trying. I just know every day, even on off days, I'm trying. Okay.
Sure.
Anyway, so we both picked North Carolina Central over Southern. So we are both 1-0 to start week 1. So before we get the pick started, let me say this. Like, I was messing up so crazy last year when it came to notating the picks. Okay. So this year is going to be different because we're in an AI generation. Okay. And people say a lot of stuff about AI and AI. I am sort of nervous of where we're going with AI for sure, the deep fakes and stuff like that. However, AI has helped supercharge my workflow. So I'm going to be working. This is not a sponsorship, but with Google Gemini. Okay. I love Gemini. Yeah, I got the updated Gemini. So I'm going to have that help me keep track of our picks. Also, and maybe you can't tell or not, I got a new laptop. Okay. That like legitimately was like it was a bunch of money. It was like $2,000. This new MacBook I'm on right now. And I used to have like memory errors. I couldn't even download the episodes to put them up on YouTube. So now I can, because I got like 1 terabyte of internal memory. So I can edit, do all the different stuff. So I can listen to what we say and then notate it, put it in Gemini, say, Gemini, you know, handle my light work. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna see, we're gonna see what happens so we can be more accurate. But at least we know I need AI to tell me we want to know. I just need it in my brain. So we want to know because we picked North Carolina Central. So
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Because I got to sacrifice some games just in case to go with my heart and not my head. So we're gonna see what happens. So Delaware State versus Delaware. Who you got?
Delaware.
That easy?
That easy. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
We're gonna have coverage of Delaware State, Delaware. So if you're listening to this and you follow HBC Post on Instagram, look out for that. Hopefully TikTok too. I picked Delaware as well, just because I don't think they're going to lose their first game as an FBS program. You know, they're in Conference USA now. They left the FCS and they were dominating the FCS too. But I think that they would want to start off their schedule with a win. And they play DeSean in Colorado the next week. So I think that they're really going to try to go out there, get that win, probably dominantly. And then I think that now it's not an FCS, FBS matchup. It's 2 FBS teams. You want to try to go there and get DeSean, and then you really, truly make a name for yourself for your program and folks talking about you, you know? So I think, honestly, Delaware was going to win this game, but I hope Delaware State does well. And, boy, I hope they win, because if they win and we got coverage at that game, oh, my God, it's going to be great. But, yeah.
I don't have as much high hopes as them really attacking the field as they would want to, with this being DeSean Jackson's first game. Not saying that they couldn't. I just don't. I don't have anything to really be like, yeah, they can do this against Delaware. So if they win, hey, I'll take my L happily. Love that for him. But right now, Delaware.
Listen, you got to put yourself in winnable situations. And the winnable situation is that if I'm wrong, I know that post going to go crazy on Thursday night or Friday morning when we drop the pictures. Shout out to Jeannie Productions, Chelsea. She's amazing. So, like, just know she's Delaware State alum, so she'll be happy as well. I know she probably won't hear this, but I think she'll be very happy as well. So hopefully Delaware State wins and we're both wrong. But if Delaware State fans, you hear this, you better not impugn our football integrity. Oh, so they don't know football. No, can't do that with us.
We're thinking with our head and not our heart. We're being realistic here. We're being realistic.
They're gonna be like, not only did they have silent lunches and suspension, they don't know football. All right, so North Carolina Central and New Hampshire. Who you got?
And you know, people would think after this amazing performance that Central just pulled off. You know, I'm a little iffy on this one. I'm a little, Central has this thing of being really great, like they were this past Saturday. But then you come in and it's like, this is a completely different team. I'm going to choose and hope Central. In hope. I pray they don't disappoint me. I can't. I can't. Oh gosh. I'm scared.
I'm surprised you were very, very tentative about this. I choose North Carolina Central proudly. They beat New Hampshire a couple years ago when Davius Richard was there, and I know this is a totally different team, but I think they can beat New Hampshire. Like, I want to see North Carolina Central against like North Dakota State and South Dakota State and South Dakota and Montana and these really great FCS schools. I want to see North Carolina Central against Mercer down here in Macon. Like, you know, they're good. You know, I mean, I want to see them against Nichols. I want to see them against, I'm saying Nichols. Nichols beat a ranked team, but like, I want to see them against like the best in the FCS, because we saw what they did against Richmond when they played Richmond in the playoffs, and they beat Elon, all these other teams. But in the playoffs, if Davis Richard doesn't go down, they beat Richmond. Easy. Davis Richard got injured, and then from there, they didn't really have, you know, good, consistent quarterback play the rest of that game. Davius comes back, but you let Richmond get that momentum. So I want to see what North Carolina Central does against these non-HBCU FCS teams. And when they have played these out-of-conference games, they've done well. And they did well last year against UNC. Like, they actually did really well in that game. They lost that game ultimately, but they were holding up pretty well, even with Walker Harris still developing, and you bring a lot of those guys back. So I'm picking North Carolina Central proudly. I think they beat New Hampshire. I think it might be a close game, and I think New Hampshire's going to want their win back, but I'm totally picking North Carolina Central. So South Carolina State versus Wofford. Now, this gets interesting. Who you got here?
You know, I haven't heard much about them, but knowing more about South Carolina State than I know about Wofford. They're oblivious to me. And I don't like just choosing teams out of nowhere. So I guess I'm going to have to sacrifice this pick like I'm doing with Townsend. And I'm going to go with South Carolina State on this. I don't know enough to say, hey, this may be something that South Carolina State may seem to regret. So I'm going to have to regret with them and just go with my dogs. Because I don't know much about these Terriers. I don't. And I don't know how they would scale against Chennisberry's really, really good defensive team and that running back, that ground game that he obviously has down. But knowing the coach that Chennisberry is, the D2 effects that are sweeping across HBCU football in these D1 aspects, I'm going to go with South Carolina State and, risk my pick. And that's fine with me.
I think that's a good pick. So, fun fact, you remember Irv Mulligan? We were, raving about Irv Mulligan a couple years ago when he first came into Jackson State. His previous school was Wofford. So they got some guys, and Irv Mulligan came in. He was the best running back in the SWAC, So I think that Wofford does have some talented guys. Last year, they were 5-7, 3-5 in conference. They beat a ranked Richmond 26-19. They had a narrow game with William and Mary. And as we know, we had that joke about them a couple years ago. Like, William and Mary is actually really good. They were 13th going in that game. You had Wofford, they lost 28-21. So they're a formidable team. They lose to the cream of the crop, both in their conference and that are ranked. South Carolina State, they have some turnover. Of course, you lose Eric Phoenix, you lose a couple of those other senior players that were key on that team, but you still have some of his guys from Benedict. You still have some great recruits and transfers that he brought in. I think South Carolina State is going to win. Honestly, really do. Like, there's nothing for me to believe with the information that I have that South Carolina State will lose this game. I think your pick isn't even like, oh, I'm going out on a limb. Your pick is great. I'm with you. I think South Carolina State wins. And for Chennisberry, if God is with us, we would never fail. That's Chennisberry's motto at this point. So, like,
of course.
So, let's see. Morgan State versus South Alabama. Who you got?
Morgan, we actually had some talk about Morgan State last year. They showed up in a couple of games that I was actually very excited about, but they're just too inconsistent for me. And I don't know if they fix those inconsistencies enough to actually pull out over South Alabama. So I'm going to go South Alabama.
Interesting. So South Alabama, they finished last year 7-6, 5-3 in the conference. Get this, Arielle, they beat Northwestern State 87-10. Like they stomped them 87-10, and they beat Appalachian State 48-14, and they lose to LSU. So like they had some really cool wins. So they had some cool Sun Belt Conference wins. FBS opponent Morgan State has honestly fared pretty well against FBS teams. Like, of course, they had that Akron game that they could have won. We talked about that a couple years ago, and it just simply didn't go their way. Morgan State, they're looking for a quarterback. Hopefully they have a quarterback. I'm going to protect my pick because just like you, I've gone out on a limb, I think, a couple times. So I'm because with Prairie View, we're going to see what Prairie View does, and also with Michael Vick. So I'm going with South Alabama, but Morgan State, I will be proud to be wrong here. Make me proud. Go out there with a quarterback. I know y'all not used to this. Y'all used to a defense. All right. Go out there and have a quarterback and dice them boys up. Because if not, Ray Lewis gonna find a quarterback anyway.
It's not happening.
Okay.
I love that you want them to win in a hypothetical sense. I need Morgan State to be the same Morgan State that I've seen until next week. Like, lose this week.
Okay.
Next week, though, be a wonder. Have a Cinderella story for a lifetime. I can't. There's only, like you said, we already have Townsend and Prairie View. I can't risk any more picks. We're already starting risky. This week is already risky. I can't do anymore. So, Morgan State, I'm so sorry. I don't have hope for you, and I can't have it till next week. So,
and y'all just wait, because there's gonna be a lot of hope in the last game we talk about. She knows what I'm talking about.
I do.
So, going to the SWAC, very interesting matchup. Was gonna be my game of the week. Hampton versus Jackson State. Who you got?
Don't even know why that was going to be your game of the week. That was real crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm
shocked. I like you. Why do you think that's the game of the week?
I think you have a better game.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. I think Prairie View is definitely a better game, to be honest with you. Listen. Anywho, Jackson State. I think Jackson State pulls this one out. I think we're going to see some kind of resurgence after last year, seeing if they stick to it, seeing if this team is the team that we're really going to beat, especially with Florida A&M kind of falling behind just a little bit. I think Jackson State has it. Who you got?
Hampton actually turned out to be really good when they got Trent Boykins in there. I think there's gonna be a lot of upsets this week. Wow. Or at least what we would consider to be upsets. So they finished 5-7, but remember, because we talked about this, like look at these games that they were competitive in. They were competitive against number 25 Rhode Island. They lost 46-44. They beat A&T 59-17.
That's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there.
It just thought, I'm like, they sure did do that. They beat Elon 41-21, right? But they lose to Villanova, 12th ranked Villanova, 20-14. And then against Richmond, number 7 Richmond, they lose 24-21. So they were in a lot of narrow games against really good teams. Albany, the final game, they lose 41-34. So it's like on the margins. Like you have Trent Boykins that comes in. You see they had a level of success. You see they finished 5-7. They were 2-6 in conference. But some of these games go the other way, and we're looking a little bit different. Maybe they have a winning record, and they start to turn heads a little bit. I think that Hampton will probably be more competitive than a lot of people think. And I think a lot of people do expect Hampton to be competitive, but I think they're going to be way more competitive than a lot of people think. I think Jackson State ultimately wins. So they got a lot of weapons, and they have that Celebration Bowl SWAC championship foundation. But I don't think Hampton gets blown out. If they get blown out, I'll be shocked. But I think Jackson State ultimately wins.
Never that. And then these are two different conferences competing against each other this weekend. Both out of conference games. Hampton in the league on its own, not negating any of the close games or any of the wins that they had, but just playing against Jackson State and then we're seeing where Hampton is now. Jackson State this to Hampton, they probably think of this as lesser competition, which I think they're going to go in with the underhand being that this is going to be an easy game, but Jackson State's not going to make it like that. So in this case, yes, Jackson State wins. On a regular schedule, Hampton is probably beating out most of the competition this year, but Jackson State.
Okay. So, Orange Blossom Classic, Howard versus Florida A&M. I think this was tricky. Who you got?
It is tricky just because of what's been going down with Florida A&M. And looking at Howard, I mean, Howard's been surprising, to say the least. That's the nicest thing I could say about them, personally. They're not bad. They're not good. Florida A&M is just going through a whole restructuring right now, which, this is okay. I feel so right-leaning because I feel like I've just chosen every team on the right besides South Carolina State and South Alabama. Where is this?
This is going to be neutral site. It's going to be in Miami Gardens. So it's going to be neutral site, although it's in Florida. So, fans.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. It's not, I hate when football games, it's like neutral site, but it's still in the state where like a team is from. It's not neutral. It's technically not neutral. They do that a lot in the SEC. That actually pisses me off. That's why Georgia's so dominant. It pisses me off.
There's other reasons why, but I go with this. We're not SEC podcast. We're not Josh Pate yet. Okay, not yet. Like that's my guy. Not yet. We getting there, Josh.
I'm gonna say Florida. I'm gonna say Florida A&M.
Okay, you ready for my take?
Go ahead, bro. This is gonna be the first time that we actually just kind of part ways.
I have no faith in either of these teams at all. No, zero faith. I have zero faith in Howard. I have zero faith in Florida A&M. I need to see it on the field. I need to see it on the field. At this point, I don't know. I honestly, I will, to be safe, I'll pick Florida A&M, but I have zero faith in either one of these teams. Either one. I think both of them are soul searching. I want to see what Cozy does. I just honestly do, because when you are succeeding someone like Willie Simmons, who ironically enough we'll talk about in a second, you got to show me something, and I have not seen enough from James Cozy. So I'll choose Florida A&M, but almost reluctantly, because I'm like, I don't know. I think they'll let me down.
I was about to say, no faith is not an answer. You have to make a pick, unless we're pulling like no pick cards this season, which we did not discuss.
No. Oh no. We're not. I have no faith in that. I'm gonna choose Florida A&M, but I mean, like, I don't like if they both could lose. I think they would. Like, I don't know. Or it'll be a weather delay and then it's a draw like I did with Mercer, UC Davis. I'm like, well, Randall was right.
Wasn't wrong. Was right? So I mean, why not? Hey, well, when hurricane season coming up, maybe we'll get something in a week. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully it's after, because I know it's that hurricane's going on is nasty right now. So hopefully, everything's good there. So Alcorn State and Northwestern. So, Aria, I want to give you the stats on Northwestern real quick. I'm gonna give you one stat that I think will ultimately help us make our pick. Okay, so you remember we talked about South Alabama, and we talked about them beating the team 87-10. It was Northwestern. Northwestern went 0-12 last year. And now, granted, they played Prairie View really close, ironically enough. They lost 37-31 to Prairie View. Okay, but they were getting like beat down. Weber State 0-39, Tulsa 62-28, South Alabama 87-10, Stephen F. Austin 59-17, Texas A&M Commerce 42-21. All right, Lamar, not Lamar Jackson, Lamar 42-10. Lamar probably could beat him by himself though. All right, Southeastern Louisiana 41-0, McNeese 35-3, Houston Christian 62-24. But they were competitive against Prairie View 37-31 before Tremaine Jackson got there, and he stopped playing recess. So what do you think?
You are funny. You're actually one of the funniest people I've ever met.
For real? You think?
You know, thank you for your breakdown and trying to make this decision easier than what it is. I had to make sure this is the Northwestern that I'm thinking about. I feel like if I choose Northwestern, then everybody's going to be like, she obviously wasn't listening to Randall's breakdown. But this could be a completely different team because Alcorn State scares me. But for the fact of me being scared, I'm going to choose Alcorn State.
I choose Alcorn State too. I have no other analysis outside of 0-12. I have no other analysis. Like if Alcorn loses this game, my God, hire me as the coach. Like, good God. Like,
that's like saying, you know, Southern losing to Mississippi Valley State.
Oh no, that's
Mississippi Valley State got a win over
FAMU last year.
Yeah,
and they got you know they got my guy down there from Florida State. You should love Mississippi Valley now. Legendary. Like what? Come, we gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about it because it's down. It's done now. We're gonna talk about it though. Right. Alabama State versus UAB, University of Alabama Birmingham. Not like, you know, Alabama. This is UAB, the Blazers. Yeah.
Yeah, because as soon as I saw that, I said, "Where's the second line?" Because automatically they're losing, and then I saw Birmingham on the second line. I said, "Oh, great."
Now, well, not A&T. It's someone. No, it's not. I don't think it's anybody playing Alabama. They're playing. It's teams playing Georgia. A&T's playing Georgia in a couple of years, and a couple other teams. But no, yes, there's not that Alabama. Not the Kalen DeBoer Alabama. This is Trent Dilfer Alabama.
I'm sorry. Okay, my pick. Is Andrew Body back in this game?
Yes. And I think this spring, if I could be wrong, I think he became a Kappa too. I mean, I don't know if that matters or not. He
that doesn't. As well. That actually makes me put less faith.
Okay, I'm just celebrating for his achievement. It popped in my mind like we wrote about it.
But Andrew Body, if he is, that's a big factor on how this game goes, because if he is playing and he lasts through all 4 quarters, that I would say Alabama State pulls out with this win. If he does play, that's because this is on coach. If he does play, but he doesn't play all quarters, then it could be UAB. So that's the thing. I don't know if coach has learned his lesson about his limitations on Andrew Body, but going off the fact that he is simply going to be there. Oh gosh, I'm 3 for 3. I'm going to choose Alabama State.
I was going to choose Alabama State. I thought you were going to be shocked at me. Dang.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That's why I need to know if Andrew, if he was back. Because if he's back,
he's back. He's back. He is back. And he came back to Alabama State too, which I thought maybe he wouldn't. I thought maybe he tried to go to another school, but no, he came back. I feel like he had the opportunity to be like, oh no, I'm leaving, because he could have easily, he was a medical redshirt anyway. He could have easily said, I'm medical redshirt. I'm a transfer to whatever other school. Mm-hmm. But when I found out he still was there, and then we wrote the story on Clutch Points by him being a Kappa, in my mind, I'm like, he's staying. he's totally staying. He loves Alabama State. I feel like he really loves it there, and I feel like he's going to stay, and he's going to come back and be that quarterback. I think that you're totally correct. I think that it comes down to Eddie Robinson's decision making. He should, because I watched that game back. I watched the game. I think I got to halftime of the Orange Blossom Classic last year. It was mind-numbingly crazy that he was doing that 2-quarterback system and had Andrew being like a wide receiver and stuff, doing these trick plays and stuff against North Carolina Central. And then when you give the ball to Andrew Body, he does well. So I do think, contingent on Andrew Body playing, I do think that Alabama State can win this game. Trent Dilfer and his team, they went 3-9 last year. They did start the season by beating Alcorn 41-3, but Alcorn is not Alabama State. Alabama State's defense is like that. And I think this could give Eddie Robinson Jr. a pelt on his wall of like, hey, I did this, So I think that honestly, it can happen. I don't have a lot of faith in Trent Dilfer's team. I don't have a lot of faith in them. So, and I guess we both don't have a lot of faith in Trent Dilfer. When I say Trent Dilfer, you start laughing. That's hilarious. Okay.
Sorry.
But I tell you who we both probably do have a lot of faith in. Willie Simmons. Welcome Willie Simmons back to the show, because we haven't talked about Willie Simmons in a minute, because he left Florida A&M and went to Duke to be a running back coach and get that money. And then he said, I got my money. I only needed 1 year. Let me go be a coach, a head coach. He went to the FIU. And guess what, Arielle? EA Sports, he's in the game. He's in the game. Now that character model is not Willie Simmons, though. they didn't do no face scan, but I'll tell you what they did give him, Arielle. They gave him that visor, though. he got the, it's so funny because he got the visor. Because I'm playing it, because I sent the screenshot to you. I'm playing as Willie Simmons. I started at FIU, and when we made the college football playoff, we lost. But like we were going through the conference, it's like he did in the SWAC. Okay, then we go to Florida State, and we're currently undefeated. But I've not played the game in about a month. Okay, so Willie Simmons in real life got to take over because I'm about to play 2K. But Willie Simmons, he's back. You excited to talk about Willie Simmons? You excited?
Man, listen. It's good to have him back. It's just weird to see him on another team. Like any other person, it's just weird. But it's like Bethune-Cookman, bro. Like, it's just automatic skip. We already know that Willie Simmons is just gonna have his winning debut. There's nothing else to say. Like, for a debut, I was hoping for a better team. But I mean, I'll take Bethune-Cookman. I'll take this as you know what? We'll slide through.
Yeah. I think it's cool that he starts off his career as a head coach on the FBS level playing the HBCU, including one he's familiar with. I thought that was really cool. And it's almost like a homecoming of sorts. It might be sentimental a little bit, it's like, hey, I'm playing Bethune-Cookman. It might be just really cool. But they do play Penn State next week. Number 2 ranked Penn State. So they're going to play somebody that next week. Bethune's the warm-up game.
It is. Most definitely a warm-up. Definitely a scrimmage. Preseason type vibes. Like, we're just getting our feet in. Okay,
so Alabama, A&M, or Arkansas. Can we both agree Arkansas?
Of course.
Okay.
And I'm so sorry to Alabama A&M. I really hate when they do that to them in the beginning of the season.
But shout out to Sam Shade, though. Sam Shade, he's going to do a lot of great things. I want to move Mississippi Valley State to the last one so we can transition the last 2 games we're going to talk about. So UAB versus Texas Tech. Can we agree on Texas Tech?
Yes.
And Grambling versus Langston. Can we agree on Grambling?
That end of the season run for Grambling really pissed me off. And I'm just not as confident as I used to be in them. But for the sake of time, yes, we can agree with Grambling.
Okay.
Even though it's shaky.
Listen, I hope the AI's picking this up. Like when we say we agree, I'm like, hey, no, they didn't agree. No, we agreed. AI. Okay, like okay, we might not agree here. We're gonna see. Mississippi Valley State versus Southern. Who you got?
Why would we not agree? Why do you think Mississippi Valley State is going to be Southern?
I can beat Southern at this point, all by myself.
That's exactly why that suspicion is on your record. Because Southern is definitely winning against Mississippi Valley State.
If they continue to just run the ball and get under 100 passing yards, yeah, Terrell Buckley can probably coach a win in his debut over Southern. Then I'm surprised at you, Arielle. That is a Florida State legend. Florida State's your team. You ain't gonna have faith in your fellow Seminole? He said no.
No.
Oh man.
It's a no for me, dog. It's a no.
I'm gonna pick Southern though. I'm gonna pick Southern, but
Yeah, not in this game. No, I'm sorry.
But they can win. Mississippi Valley can win.
Why don't you pick them? Why don't you pick them, Randall?
I took too many chances.
No, you only took 2.
I took 3, didn't I?
I'm the one that took 3. You only took 2.
Okay. I'll pick Mississippi Valley. Mississippi Valley, don't let me down. Come on, Terrell Buckley. As a matter of fact, Terrell Buckley, you got eligibility. Go out there and play.
I'm gonna say you're not risking your life. You talk about all that business. Stand on your business. Stand on Valley State.
Okay.
Finally having a winning game for the first time in what feels like forever. What has it been? Over maybe a decade, maybe close to a decade since they had an opening season win.
I will research that and get back to you. Okay.
Because if they actually win, historic. But then that actually changes the course of what we're thinking about for this whole football season. But I don't see that happening.
Oh, it doesn't change it. It doesn't change it for me. Doesn't change a thing for me. I'm picking Mississippi Valley, but I'll say this: if Southern figures out that the forward pass is legal, they gonna win this game. If they don't. And Mississippi Valley stacks that box, and Trey Holly doesn't break the box. I don't know. We gonna say I don't got a lot of faith in Southern. I'm gonna tell you who I got more faith in than Southern. North Carolina A&T. I got more faith in North Carolina A&T than I. That's not a pick, by the way. That's just a good transition. Okay.
Yeah, I know it is. I was going to be like, you got faith in my Aggies over Tennessee State. I would love to hear that. Oh. Why are we shaky? What's going on?
Okay. So the last game is North Carolina A&T versus Tennessee State. Sean Gibbs versus Reggie Barlow. Now, if you remember, Arielle, we did a pick when Eddie George was there because we were excited to see the coaching matchup. And I think we both said that we predicted Eddie George would win. But Eddie George isn't there anymore because Eddie George went to Bowling Green, which shocked me. It shocked me on a conference championship Sunday, I think, or Saturday. They were like, yeah, no, it was a Sunday. They officially announced it. I was like, that's crazy. Now you got Reggie Barlow there from UFL fame. Like he got a great coaching staff, and you got Sean Gibbs, Rob Broadway. I think is a consultant. You got some good vibes. Y'all feel great down in North Carolina A&T. First day of class fits was good. I know that don't matter, but y'all look nice. So who you got?
The first day of class. First of all, the fact that for this generation, that's even a thing. Like, because ours was just an Instagram post. They got viral videos. Like, it's a whole thing now. So, like, I just feel so far removed from this generation. I just
TikTok era. It's TikTok era. Like it only is a thing because perception is different. That's it only because we pride ourselves in dressing well, but like it's TikTok era. TikTok changed everything.
Because none of those fits I would have worn to the first day of class. This is not a fashion show. I'm trying to get my degree in dip.
None of the fits I would have wore ever. I saw one dude at Clark Atlanta. They had on the white, he had on the white polo thing. He had on the biggest shoes I've seen in my life. I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but like I'll tell you offline. Those shoes were big though. You probably know where I'm going though.
I just, all that aside.
Yeah.
I'm picking A&T, but I'm telling you why it's a little scary. Because having all this familiarity come back, having Sean Gibbs come back, this is A&T knows this coach. Does the football team know this coach? Because this is a completely different generation. Like I said, we do have some returns, and I believe our quarterback situation is going to be better under Sean Gibbs. I think we are going to have somebody that is tighter, more knowledgeable, and who actually knows how to make plays on the field, because our quarterbacks have been trash. I'm going to say it because nobody else is going to say it, but they've all sucked. They've sucked. Our quarterbacks have been disgustingly, terribly trash. Don't ever pick up a football again. With Sean Gibbs being there, I think this could be better. But playing against Tennessee State is a little bit scary on your first game. I believe this will be a close game. Maybe. I'm going to put that in the atmosphere. It's going to be a close game. Will this be a winning game since I'm choosing them? Hopefully. But I know this is going to be a game that is going to challenge A&T, that is going to show their weaknesses and some things that they're going to be good in, and what this rest of the season is going to be looking like. Because what has it been, 3 years of a losing streak and 2 different conferences? I need some kind of hope somewhere over the rainbow. So as an alum and as a faithful follower and trusting in Sean Gibbs, and Sean Gibbs we trust, I'm picking A&T. Is that the smart choice? Probably not. But I'm going to stick with my Bulldogs. Love them down. You're probably going to go Tennessee.
Now, you said that somewhere over the rainbow. That's from the Wizard of Oz, or for Black people, the Wiz.
The Wiz.
And I tell you what, if you went to the Wizard and you went to talk to the Wizard, what you will find is that the Wizard is not just a man. The Wizard is actually the Wizard, and the Wizard would give you a plan to stop your pain, and that plan is to go back to the MEAC. The Wizard would tell you somewhere over the rainbow is the MEAC. Paint over that CAA logo and put that purple MEAC logo back. Because you said you want teams back. Start with your team. Like, you said you want teams back. Sean Gibbs would be great in the Celebration Bowl. He'd be great against Michael Vick and DeSean Jackson. He would be amazing. Somewhere over the rainbow.
Somewhere over the rainbow. We also have to remember the fact that the Wiz is not an all-powerful being man. What really...
Oh, this Wiz is in this generation. Though. This era Wiz is he might not be powerful, but he got wisdom.
The only wisdom he's giving you is you have to look inside yourself. That's all that the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow needed, was to
look inside yourself and see inside yourself. You do not need to be in the Coastal Athletic Association and click your heels and go home. You know that made sense?
It did. That was great. It was great. We're never going back. We're not going back, unfortunately. We're never going back. A&T has ran its course. It is between Central and South Carolina State. They're not coming back. So, choose your pick, man.
Tennessee State. I got a lot of faith in Reggie Barlow. I know I'm familiar with Sean Gibbs, even interviewed him. I'm familiar with Sean Gibbs, and I know he is an amazing coach. For real, he's an amazing coach. I think that he recruited a good team. I'm more excited to see what the second recruiting class looks like, though. Yeah. I'm more excited to see the adjustment he makes. And I know football is life for him. Like, football is Sean Gibbs' passion. And I know that you can say that about Tremaine Jackson. You can say that about any of these coaches. But I saw with Fort Valley, you take over a Fort Valley team that Maurice Flowers didn't really have the opportunity to truly build out. And then, you turn Fort Valley back into the winner that we were and gave us a great run. I just think that Reggie Barlow, it's still a foundation there. It's guys that left Tennessee State, but there's still enough of a foundation there that I think that from the coaching staff to the players, I think that they're more equipped to go out there and win. But I think, in all seriousness, I think it will be a good game. This is probably the game. I wasn't confident enough to make this my game of the week, although I would have gave a great rundown. Oh my God, I would have gave a great rundown. But I'm very excited for this game. Very excited. And I think I don't think it's on HBCU. I think it's on ESPN Plus. But like, I'm going to be watching. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what ANC does. I'm just not confident. You're more confident than me.
The confidence is because I went to that school and I love it so much. It's blind faith right now. it's blind faith. I need to see it like how you need to see it. I need with Howard and with FAMU. I need to see it on the field. I need to see what the difference is going to look like this year. So it's blind faith, and that's my fourth risky pick of this week one, which is crazy.
But to be fair, you're still gonna have a winning record though, so it don't matter.
I might be looking at a couple wins, but
there's like 20 games. You're gonna have more than a couple.
Next
couple
week
times 10.
It's gonna look a little scary against you next week. I gotta fill out some of these teams, bro.
All right. It's like I'm have a couple wins. It's literally you got like 3 conferences and some FBS games. You got like 8 conferences on this schedule. And then Northwestern, that's the easiest pick probably ever. Northwestern 0-12. They got beat 87-10. You would have thought it was a basketball score. You would have thought South Carolina played somebody. It's
really gonna be this Mississippi Valley State game.
Okay.
That will probably rock us.
Oh, it's not gonna rock me.
And this Grambling game.
Oh, not gonna rock me because it'll rock Southern if they don't pass that ball. Forward pass. It's been legal.
You know what?
Since 1906.
I can't wait to come back and be like, so what you say about Southern? I cannot wait.
Okay. Because I'll say it again. Do you realize that in hindsight, just to wrap this thing up, Andrew Body is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. And Kappa Alpha Psi was founded in 1911. And the forward pass has been legal since 1906. But you wouldn't know watching Southern last Saturday that it was legal. Ain't that a shame?
I'm not going to say anything because they're already going to tear me up about Michael Vick. They're going to tear me up about my Kappa comments. No comment. I plead the fifth.
Okay. I like something to tell me up for that. But it's early in this. I was told it was early in the season, so we're gonna let it be early in the season. we'll let it be.
We'll let it be.
All right, Arielle. This was a very fun show. Week 1 football is back, and we're in our prime at this point. We're in our prime. We can tell.
We're here. So, I'm excited. I can't wait for next week.
I can't either. So where can we find you on social media? Where can folks direct their comments to you?
Y'all can personally attack me on Instagram at __.modernDayAri, or put me in the hot seat on X, formerly known as Twitter, as @Greery__. Or you can find me on my website at arielkilgore.canva.com.
I'll tell you what, Arielle, last thing, trust me, you'll be just fine. They ain't watching this far. they look for the Michael Vick and they got peace out. Michael Vick, DeSean Jackson, deuces.
They'll hear that part though. They're going to be like, all right, we're going to have to go talk to her because she's usually not this rowdy.
Oh my gosh.
That's what.
Listen, thank y'all so much for tuning in. You're listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.